I'd like to welcome everyone to our 26th TILO Presents webinar session via YouTube Live. My name is Kara Rasak, and I'm the Integration Specialist at Rossford Schools in Northwest Ohio. And I'm going to be the moderator for today's presentation, and we're very glad you can join us. For today, we have Bill Mooney from WOSU Classroom. You're in Columbus, is that right? Or was it?
Yep.
Okay, it is Columbus. And he's going to be presenting about PBS LearningMedia. And the session is going to be about 30 minutes or so, with time during and at the end for questions if you have any. Also, this will be a recorded session, so you have a chance to watch it later, or maybe you are already in the future. How exciting. Again, if you're new to the YouTube Live format, just a couple of things. Make sure that during the live session here, if you have any questions or comments, there's a couple of options. The Google Doc that you see here in front of you, we have a link to that. And also, if you want to chat, you can use the YouTube page, but you do need to have a YouTube account to add to that. But we'll be monitoring both of those during the session. And also, at any time, you can pause the live session as well as the recording. And also, for the recording, if you do have any questions in the future, I'm sure you could contact Bill, and you get his email if you registered. Or you could probably Google him and find his email that way as well. So without any more delay, I would like to let Bill introduce himself and then go on with this presentation.
Well, thank you, Carrie. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you guys out there about, especially the technology leaders, about this product. So today, we're going to talk about PBS LearningMedia. And some people, as I go around the state, say, "Oh, I've heard of this," but not a lot of people have been really had a chance to look at it. And so this presentation today is to expose people to PBS LearningMedia and what a wonderful resource it could be for teachers of all grade levels. So many times when I come across a teacher and I show them this, it's not 10 minutes before they say, "I'm using this tomorrow. I've got something I'm going to use this piece for." And so I really want to just try to push this product as much as I can. I came across it about a year ago, even though it's been out since 2011. And once I spent a little bit of time with it, I thought, oh, I need to be one of the people helping to distribute this message. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go through a few slides of a slideshow, and then I'm going to take you into PBS LearningMedia and show you the interface and all the possibilities for finding content, and then some of the new features. So that's what I have planned to show you. So I'll start with this. I'll just kind of share my screen. And I'm going to go. So again, I'm Bill Mooney. This is about PBS LearningMedia, and I represent WOSU Public Media. So that is here in Columbus, Ohio. Some people are familiar with WOSU as the radio television station. If you're watching from another part of the state, you're probably familiar with your station there locally that represents PBS. So I work for a division of WOSU Public Media. It's called WOSU Classroom. So there's a little bit about me. So I'm an educational technology consultant. So like most of you who are watching this, I do tech integration, but I have the wonderful opportunity to travel around Central Ohio and also into other parts of Ohio. I talk about tech integration, and that is all things that everybody's involved in terms of Chromebooks and iPads and active learning and blended learning, all those kind of pieces. So that's a little about me. And again, after this is over, you can always feel free to contact me if you have any questions or you'd like this presentation at your school. Feel free to contact me. Here's our website. So this is WOSU Public Media's website. And so again, there's the television station, there's the radio station, and I am part of the classroom. So there's about 6 of us who represent that division of WOSU Classroom. And our main mission is to provide that technology service to enhance teaching and learning. But we've got that added bonus of all those PBS materials. So here's our website, just so you know, again, who I represent. Some of the things that we have upcoming at WOSU Public Media here in Columbus, but also some of the events that you might be familiar with. When I say that, we have lots of opportunities, but so you can kind of read those off. And some of the big ones that I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this are familiar with is the Google Summit that's going to be coming up in May 24th and 25th, Ohio State Student Union, so not far from my office here in Columbus. So I will for sure be there, and I'll be presenting on some Google, kind of a game, Googlifying some games, but there's some other opportunities that we have up there. So we do things with Microsoft, we do things with coding and robotics. We also do lots of opportunities for local people to network and connect. And so if you're a tech coach in the central Ohio area, we usually have a meeting the first Thursday of every month during the school year. So we'll be having one of those. And so we usually have a wonderful conversation and about all kinds of things related to education and technology. So it's a great opportunity to meet people. So we have that coming up. We also have an innovation mixer on April 25th, which is actually in 2 days here, with a mix of education and business leaders talking about innovation in all kinds of environments. So lots of things going on here. Go to our website, check it out. When we talk about education and PBS, I've got these wonderful images here. I think all of us have this connection, or most of us have a connection to PBS and learning. I know my connection when I was younger was Mr. Rogers After School. I would watch that show and was very interested in the puppets, and the tone of the whole show was kind of soothing, relaxing. I also was a fan of Sesame Street and learned so much. I can remember Cookie Monster gobbling down cookies as he counted, and just all those wonderful characters, and some of these newer characters that PBS has, from Curious George and Cyber Chase and Rough Ruffman. So all of us have this wonderful connection to PBS and learning, and their wonderful content, and it engages us in so many ways. Some of us, it's this springboard to more learning. Some of us wonder and kind of research and just enjoy this. And so I want to talk about this kind of new piece, even though it's been around for about 4 years now, and that's PBS LearningMedia. So now you have this other chance to interact with PBS as a teacher, as an adult, to find this great content and bring it to students. So this is kind of a screenshot of the page I'll take you in a second, but what we're going to go to is this PBS LearningMedia has just thousands of images, interactive articles, lesson plans, resources. You'll just kind of be blown away by all the things that they have. Since 2011, they've had this site, and every year they add newer pieces so that information can be shared. So we'll talk today about how it can be put. Once you find a wonderful resource from PBS, you could share it out through links, through Google Classroom, to creating a class inside here. So all those kind of pieces. So let me go right into, I'm going to close this presentation, and I'm going to go to the web. Oops. And I'll eventually get to that. So this is PBS LearningMedia.org. So the main page. Now I want to take a moment and kind of talk about what's here, and then we'll kind of talk about kind of digging into the site. And first I'll kind of notice that, once I created an account in here, across the top of my screen, you're seeing WOSU. So again, it is not WOSU's product. It is nationwide PBS's product. Because when I created an account, I put in my zip code, it recognized that I'm a viewer of that WOSU station. So, if you're in Billings, Montana, it's going to be whatever your local station is. If you're in Toledo or Cleveland, your station is going to pop across the top once the IP address is figured out with the zip code. So again, it's not owned by us. And everything here is free. I don't think I've said that yet. So again, everything's free here. So PBS Learning Media, if you put that in a search, it's going to come right up. And it's going to look similar to this. And so I just want to take a moment before I get into digging in here, some things about this site. So PBS Learning Media, and across this top, the first thing you want to know, you do want to create an account, because that way, if you create an account in here, you can do all kinds of things, from saving certain things. So you can have kind of a file system with files and folders where you collect media and keep it handy. But you can also create classes and share things to students in here. So it's just good to create an account. Again, it's free. There's no part of this that's paid for. So right here, I've signed in, so it says log in. But if you were to first come to this, it would say sign up. And it's going to ask you a few questions, email address, those kind of things, and you'll be ready to go. So I'll just kind of take a moment. And so again, why would I want to sign up? Because once I'm logged in as a teacher, I get a dashboard. And in that dashboard, again, I can mark favorites and assignments, and you can see, and classes, and we'll kind of talk about that. And I have a profile that I can kind of keep up to date, and they have tools for student information, those kind of things. Then as we get towards the middle of the site, we're hit with, there's a newest content, most popular content from PBS Learning Media. And here's a slider that's going to talk about, again, newer content. So if you're familiar with PBS and you know that the Ken Burns, the Vietnam War is coming up, there's going to be all kinds of resources off of that. But again, new stuff that's here. Then there's an area where it's kind of theme-based, and that will kind of rotate. Right now, it's kind of talking about some science, social studies, English language arts, all those pieces. And then at the bottom of the website are going to be additional resources for teachers, everything from teachers' blog, which there's a number of authors who blog about educational resources. There's Ready to Learn, which a lot of people are familiar with. There's professional development opportunities for you. And then there's some branding with some of the shows and some of the content providers in here. So just to kind of give you an idea of what's here, I always like to kind of just start off with a search. And in this, as we kind of look at this search area, if I'm trying to find content, if I didn't find what I was looking for right off the front, notice all the filters I have right at the top here. And so there are standards. So you can break it down by, if I click on standards, I can choose the grade level. I can choose the type of standard, a Common Core, state standards, so I can break it down by Ohio, all those things. I can do grade level, subjects, and types. So again, I could do something as simple as do a solar system search. And you'll start to then see all the results that I'm going to get from a solar system search. And I'll just take a moment and kind of go through these. And I'll first look at this center, what's kind of been loaded in the center with these image-based. As I scroll down here, what I see are content providers. I see Nova, Alabama Public Television, WGBH, which I think is out of Boston, and then PBS. So as I scroll down, I see that. I see a little description of what this source is, and I see what kind of media it is. Is it a video? Is it a document? Is it an interactive? It might be an image. So lots of images. So what are you going to find here, PBS? Meet all kinds of things, from videos to those kind of things. So as I scroll down here, you can see all the different kinds of choices I have of content. So as we look through there, and maybe I'll just go one more page, see if and so again, I'm seeing images, videos. Let's see quickly, see if I saw any kind of popular television shows. So a lot of times it'll do a search. You'll see popular television shows, whether it be Frontline or one of those younger shows. But just as we'd search in the middle, we also want to kind of pay attention when we're searching PBS Learning Media. We want to pay attention to the side, to all the filters. I just did a straight solar system search. I didn't put any grade level filters or subject filters, but just take a notice here on the left-hand side, all the filters I could have used and all the materials that are there. So I see over 1,000 results in social studies under solar system. I could limit this search by videos or images or documents or web pages or collections, media galleries, lesson plans. I can even filter by language. We have some Spanish options here, and there's even an accessibilities feature. So if you're needing captions, transcripts, those kind of pieces, you can see there's some opportunities for those. And then permitted use. Notice how many of these items that are over here have downloadable options. And that's very common in PBS Learning Media. So if I click on one of our results here in solar system, and I know it's a video here, so it's 6 to 8. And so now I have this video. I bet as I scroll down, I probably have permission to download that somewhere. Don't see that right off, but I'll look for that. So notice when I did get this item up, this video about what is the solar system, I get a description of this. On the left-hand side, I see grade appropriate. I do see here it says permitted stream only, and it will be kind of rare. So I have this, and then below this item, I have support materials that can be all kinds of things. This one has a background essay that I can read about before this, showing this video, or I could print it off. Also in these materials, I see teaching tips about this, about before, during, and after, how you might run this. And then there's some links to some other things. And then there's standards. That's very common. Everything you're going to find, there's going to be some kind of support materials. Now, they might differ a little bit, but you're going to find support materials. You're always going to find standards. That's always in every item you find. But frequently, you'll find lesson plans, printables, those kind of materials. So I want to take a moment and see. So notice how when I see this video, I'm seeing a lot of other things too, specifically on the top right. If I like this resource, there's lots of ways to share this. Notice I see Google Classroom. So if I click that, I can share that to my mini classes in Google Classroom. I can put that to Remind 101. I could share a link. I could email, and then I see my normal kind of social media pieces over here. So that's one way to share out all these. Another way to kind of collect these resources is on the left-hand side, is that there's a little heart here, and I can make this a favorite of mine, a resource, my favorite. And so I have an area where I have favorites that can be loose, or I have a folder that I can collect these resources in. I even have, and I'm not talking about this right now, but I'll eventually talk about this, there's even a way to assign this. So PBS Learning Media has created some extra tools inside here over the last couple years. Think of Google Classroom. They have their own classroom that you can put students in, that you can assign things to them, that they can give things back to you. So a whole turn-in system. So you can have a classroom inside of here. So that was just one quick solar system search. So for PBS Learning Media, you can do all kinds of searches, as you can imagine. So here's one where I just did a Curious George search.
Hey,
so
Bill.
Yeah.
Just quick question. Was there an embed link as well?
I'm sorry, was there a what?
An embed link or just a
that's a good question. I don't think there is embed. I haven't seen that. I'd have to look for that.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Yeah. But so that's a good question. Yeah. The embed link, I have not seen that. But I do want to let me see if I see any other, no, I don't. Like I said, though, it's a good question. I do find that what I find, most videos you have the permission to download because it's not a full episode of most things. And so frequently you'll find the ability to just go ahead and download those quick video clips. I will caution or just say that I've never, let me go to my one, here's George one. I'll use here's George since I'm here in terms of the videos. So if you're thinking, let's say you're doing Civil War and you're a big fan of Ken Burns in that series, you will find all kinds of pieces of Ken Burns series broken apart into little video segments with lessons and pictures, those kind of things, but you won't find a whole the Civil War video, which is, this could be, I think a lot of those segments were 2-3 hours. So there are usually segments of videos, and that's why a lot of times you can download them. So I said, you can do lots of searching here. So if you know of a show, and I just talked about Ken Burns and Civil War. So if you know that show and you like that show, definitely do a search for that. I know some teachers, I was working with some elementary librarians recently, and we were talking about science and engineering lesson ideas. And I said, Curious George has a lot of things that you could use for science and STEM. And we kind of opened this up and we kind of looked at all the episodes where George has things. And so like, here's an example where George gets into a pickle, as he normally does. And he brings home some dogs from the dog show. And again, it's a short little video that kind of explains the predicament that George is in. But then there's, and you could watch that little piece, but there's going to be a student handout about how George might solve this problem about organization. There's going to be some kind of challenges for STEM pieces, some teaching tips, and there's some links in here to more Curious George and STEM activities and lesson plans. And notice over here on the right, there's a you also might like area that will take me to some lesson plans about that. So just kind of like I said, you can do all kinds of searches here, either by show or by topic, by grade level, if you're kind of just really searching for something that might fit. Again, I encourage you to use all these filters to kind of help you find that classic kind of piece that you might need. I did a quick search. I was working with a teacher recently doing The Great Gatsby. That's a popular work of literature at this time of the year. And so I did The Great Gatsby, and I did some filtering of 11th and 12th grade. I did English language arts. And I came across that, and this is a good, just to show you what other sources are here, Crash Course. So Crash Course has all their videos inside of PBS Learning Media. So whatever you search, you'll find those. So the crash courses here. Khan Academy is also a provider. So if you do math searches, you're going to find Khan videos. So that is also a provider. So as more and more providers jump on here and are part of this. So as you see, as I kind of scroll through the Great Gatsby results, a lot of these are short little videos, either from the American Masters series about F. Scott Fitzgerald. I know there's a media collection of pictures from that era. So if kids want to understand the concept of new money and old money, there's some media gallery on that. So that kind of dips into what you could find in here in PBS Learning Media in terms of searching for content. I just think, again, you'll be so excited by this resource. I just want to take a few moments, and I don't want to take up too much time, but I want to kind of look at, as PBS has added more things to this site, it's this wonderful site, but over the last couple of years, as I talked about earlier, across the top here, they've added more things for someone who has signed in. So I'll quickly touch on, there's favorites. So again, as I browse through the collection of resources, videos, lessons, interactive pictures, I can mark them as favorites, and then they get put in my favorites section here. I can add notes to them. If I wanted to share, I could get a link to share this piece. If I just wanted to share one piece of this out, I could share a piece. I could also make folders in this system. So I can make favorites and share them. I can also make collections of folders. I've got a few started folders here. And so I've got a challenge folder. And with this challenge folder, I was thinking of challenges for STEM and those kind of things. I could load a number of videos, like I was talking about the Curious George, and I could send those to a librarian by sharing that link here. So your folder has a link that a person can open up, and you can share those links to people. So those are nice, and those have been around for quite a few years, but recently PBS has created more of that learning management system idea. And so you can create classes in PBS Public Media, and you just simply create a class, you give it a name, it gets a class code very similar to a Google class code. So my class invitation is 322-3211 GRAPE. So I create my class, I get a code, and then I can get students in Learning Media too by entering them. But just like a Google Classroom, I can enter them or they can enter themselves. So I can create a class, and with that class, I can also have assignments. So as I scroll through content, if I find content I like, I can assign it to my students. So remember, if I was in Curious George, remember it was in here, I could share it to the classroom, I could make it an assignment, but I could also share it to my, over here on the left-hand side. So the Google Classroom is top right. On the left, there's an assign link, and I could assign it to my class here in PBS Learning Media. And I could tell them what the assignment is in there, so I could assign it, any content that way that I come across. Now you might be wondering, okay, so students come to PBS Learning Media? They could, but you might want to encourage them to, there's a student site for PBS Learning Media. It is mostly the same content, but as you can see, its interface is a little more colorful. And so I went to the student side, and I see, and I'm logged in as a student, and this student has 5 assignments. I could give them projects. They could see their classes. They could make favorites in here. They can do searching in here too, just like we can come across content and save it for their own collection. so they can do good quality research at a place you trust. So again, they've got that PBS Learning for Students. And so a student could come here and enter your class code. So I didn't want to get too much into this, but I wanted to kind of open people's eyes up that you can use this site for more than kind of looking around, that you can put students in here, you can give them assignments, there's that piece. And I also want to show you that quickly, again, not to go too in depth, but now PBS has created, as a teacher, I have 4 tools to give students assignments. I have a lesson builder where I can build lessons. And if you want to kind of, you can kind of look at all of this, but a lesson builder is a way to create an interactive PowerPoint in a way. So right here on this site, it'll help you build basically a slideshow with PBS content and your own content mix. So it's a nice piece like that. You can make quizzes inside of PBS Learning Media and give to the students. Again, think of Google Forms, Microsoft Forms, those kind of things. You can create storyboards. Storyboards, again, kind of presentations that mix PBS Learning Media and your own kind of media. And you can't even build puzzles. And the 2 kind of puzzles right now that you can build are crosswords and word searches. And I'm sure PBS is going to add more content, but this is a nice piece to kind of make this a learning management system. So these pieces, again, you don't get these pieces until you create that account. So once you get that account, you can kind of come to this dashboard and find all these pieces. I'll just kind of quickly say, and I'll jump over to YouTube here real fast. I'll kind of say this a couple times, but I kind of went through all this quickly, but I want to kind of say that PBS Learning Media has a YouTube site. Imagine that. And there's lots of things about this site, but there's also lots of tutorials. There's a playlist of tutorials about kind of how to create an account in PBS Learning Media, how to set up a class, how to make favorites. All this stuff is really easy, but a lot of us like to have videos to watch, and they've done a nice job of creating quick 2, 3, 4 minute videos about a lot of their materials in here. So PBS Learning Media YouTube channels is a wonderful resource. So I'm just wanted to kind of open your eyes to all these kind of pieces that are here. And so that's all there in there. And so I'll kind of start to wrap up this presentation, and if there's any questions, I'll kind of answer those. But again, as you go along, if you think of anything or you have more questions, you're always welcome to email me anything. So I'll kind of come back to the Hangout here, and I'll stop sharing.
Hey, Bill, I did have another question. Our district used to have the Discovery Learning video that
Yes.
we paid for. Are you familiar with that? And how would this compare to that? Since obviously it's free, so that's better in that way, but content-wise and teaching support?
I can't honestly, because I've only seen that. I never had it as a teacher. When I was a teacher, I didn't have access to that. So in this position that I've only really been over people's shoulder looking at that. So it wouldn't really be fair. I will say, these are a lot of video clips, not complete clips. So they might be a piece of Nova, where it's not the whole, hour of Nova.
Gotcha.
So that might be, that's a great question. So someone who has that would have to, but again, you're getting video clips here with wonderful resources, but a lot of them are, again, clips of things, not a whole show.
Okay, great. And I don't see any other questions coming through. So other than that, do you have anything else to share on this, or?
No, I'll just say that I did mention the YouTube channel. Am I still screen sharing? You don't see me, do you?
I see you, not.
Oh, good. Okay. I was hoping you see me a little bit here.
Yeah.
Hi. I just want to say that I showed that YouTube channel, but PBS has done a wonderful job also there's a Facebook page for PBS Learning Media, Twitter. They're obviously involved in that. So you might want to follow those pieces. I didn't go to Pinterest, but, you know, I'd kind of look for those places also.
Okay. Yeah, I think I saw the symbol for that somewhere, but I'm not sure on that either. Okay.
Yeah, so it's out there, and like I said, encouraged to use it. But thanks for the time again.
Yeah, well, for everybody or people that watch this in the future too, everybody now and in the future, I'd like to thank you, Bill, for taking the time out of your day to present this wonderful resource for everybody. Definitely can be used K-12, that's for sure, and beyond, or even I'm sure. So a great resource. We love free, of course.
Yes, nothing's paid, everything's free. So
with that, I do want to just let me screen share as well here real quick. See if we can get back on that. The document will be available for people to review if need be. It won't be editable after this session for very long, but it'll be here, and then you can contact Bill if you have further questions. We'll add some more links in here as well, and Bill will be sharing his presentation link for those few other resources that can be handy. I also want to point out, again, when you do go to Learning Media, it did, like Bill said, it did grab our local PBS station, and you can change that if you want, but that does grab that, so that was fun. And this is our TILO website. I just wanted to point that out, TILOhio.org. If you haven't officially joined for Technology Integration Leaders of Ohio, you can join. You can see the list of past webinars that are in here. We've got a couple to add now from the last month or two in the spring. And then also there's a calendar of events, future events, that if you have events for everybody, we do have the mixer on there.
Hey, all right. I didn't
realize I didn't have it on there, so we just got that in there.
Oh, I was going to say, I was just on there yesterday and I didn't see it. So
I snuck that in, so wanted to get that on there as well. All right, so if you have any other ideas for sharing, always just get in contact with us and with me, and I will keep moving on with this. I want to again thank you, Bill, for your help, and we'll be sending out the evaluation link for anyone who'd like to share some feedback if you have any for Bill. Other than that, thank you all, and we hope to see you in the future.